It's 2 minutes, we're going to start. Oh, she started?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. Okay. Okay, welcome to the Lighthouse. We're going to announce today's sponsors. Today's sponsors are Giti and Avi Laseritz in the Zechut of True Happiness, Anonymous in the memory of Chaya Bat Yosef, Anonymous in the memory of Miriam Bat Meir Moshe, and for the Shidduch of Meir Moshe ben Miami. No, can't be Miami. Miriam, maybe, possibly. Miriam. And Sarah Bat Shoshana, Anonymous in the memory of Everett David Shaul and Shlomo Shaul, and thanks to Gedale, Mara Lickenstein in honor of me, Ruth Gabbai and Zeb Ops in honor of the engagement of their gratitude for the most motivating Yeshua lessons, Anonymous in the memory of Ronnie Ellie, and also for Tali Rishon and Michael Yao. If we could just close that door, if you guys don't mind. Okay, perfect. Welcome to the Lighthouse. Welcome to the Lighthouse. Just announcing we have an event in Manhattan, February 19th. It's a little different Manhattan to Miami. Miami is, sometimes you got to wake up people in Miami. But again, that's going to be February 19th. Today's book, we're going to take a great class from 13 Things Mentally Strong People Don't Do by Amy Morin. Phenomenal book. She basically has 13 things that we can all relate to. These are the 13 blockages that we have in our life. Phenomenal book. It's not a Jewish book, but basically it's pretty much emunah. It's pretty much faith. It describes where Nachman would say is these are the dalids in our lives. These are the places that we're stuck. Our whole job in our life is to go from contraction to expansion. Contraction of intellect focuses on the problem. Expansion of intellect focuses on the solution. That's really the shift in consciousness that we're always supposed to do. The only way to really do that is through faith. The only way to do that is through literally looking and seeing a different angle and everything. Having humility and looking at the big picture instead of looking at making emotional reactions, etc. That's really what the whole basis of Reb Nachman's teachings is have an open mind. There's got to be a good side to this. We know there's no testimony without a test. These are the constant things that are happening in our lives today. And we have to understand that before we even start the class, we need to understand that we come from greatness. We come from, our souls are made from greatness. So if greatness made you, greatness is in you. It's the number one thing. If people recognize the greatness of their soul, if they recognize where their soul came from, they would never have these self-defeating habits. That's just so important to understand that. You have greatness inside of you. It's called Ein Sof. Unlimited potential. If people had unlimited potential, they would never walk around with defeated habits. God forbid. That's the number one thing we need to understand. Second thing we need to understand is there's a lot of identity theft today. If you see today, people are victims of identity theft. What do people do when somebody takes your card? You call the police, you call, hey, I'm a victim of identity theft. But this is also happening in life. Somebody took your identity. It's not you. It's one of the things we need to understand. Spirit, the Yetzer Hara wants to take your identity from your life. If I understand that, then I can say, that's not me. That is not me. So remember, if you're a victim of identity theft, it's not you. That's why really returning to Shuv is really... Yeah, Michael today is 0 for 10. Identity theft is really a concept that you're not a thought. If somebody takes your identity, this is the Yetzer Hara. The Yetzer Hara wants to make you quit. The Yetzer Hara wants to make you defeated. But this is not you. It's not you. And that's so important to understand that. Third concept. Struggles create vessels. Struggles create vessels. Very simple. Wonderful. Every distraction. So far we have 13 distractions for the 13 books. Struggles create vessels. Remember that. The amount of struggle is the vessel you get. And never forget, going to Uman, going to these trips to change to have real change, the struggle that you have going there is the light that you get going there. Unbelievable. You want to go first class, no problems. You're not going to get the same light as you go with the Israeli driver and the Russian driver and the guy's tires blown off and cancellations, lost passports. All of this shenanigans that usually happens when something really big happens is very typical in spirituality. If you just walk down the aisle and there'd be no problems, you probably wouldn't appreciate the marriage. You probably wouldn't appreciate the wedding. But the headaches and the in-laws and the fights and the who's buying this and who's buying that, and who's the ex's kids, and who, I don't want to deal with her, I don't want to deal with him. All of this mishmash creates the light of the wedding. So smart people get it done quickly because they know this. You leave a lot of room open, there's going to be a lot of obstacles. Smart people make decisions, then they worry about it after. So remember, struggles create vessels. Don't look at your struggles, take it personal. Recognize the struggle creates a vessel. Specifically her, Amy Moore, she became a widow at 23. She lost her mother, her father. Trauma after trauma, and God used her, opened up her mind, gave her prophecy. So when a person goes through trauma, a person goes through pain the right way, Reb Nachman says in List 65, he gets a new mindset. He gets a new brain. He's a new person. The way you handled your problems, if after that you can say, if it wasn't for that situation, I would be here. If it wasn't for this trauma, I would never be a counselor. If it wasn't for this, I would never be who I am today. That's how you know if you handled it the right way. If you didn't handle it the right way, you're still stuck on that. That's pretty much it, because train transforms you. So struggle creates vessel. We need to also understand, and last thing we need to understand, there's no glory by God seeing you defeated. If the whole point is here is to elevate God's glory and to crown the king and to show that God's full of everything and to show faith in the most troublesome time, like we said before, God does not need angels to praise him. What's the glory of angels praising him? They're already there. There's no free choice. God gets glory when a person is in a difficult situation and he still praises him. When you're still in the struggle and you still praise him. That's the real glory. It's not when you're an angel and obviously there's no free choice. It's when you have free choice that is the glory that you can have. When you think greater than you feel. When you're able to already say, you know what, things are going to be good. It's going to work out. Without working it out. Without working it out, not seeing it clearly, that is truly how you elevate God's glory. Also, a very, very, very important concept. He didn't create a person to be defeated. He created a person to win. He wants you to win. That's why it's so important that when we pray, of course it's okay to pray with a broken heart, but the Zohar says that after you pray, you should feel like the prayer is going to get answered. You should smile afterwards. It's different than praying with a self-pity. Oh, come on, how much longer is this going to go on? Please take away this problem. That's not really elevating God's glory. That means the confidence in the prayer makes a big difference. It's not the length of the prayer, it's really the confidence behind it. So some people are afraid today to have too much confidence in prayer and to believe and to smile and to be vulnerable. Yes, that's what you're supposed to do, actually. They're afraid that they're not worthy. Maybe they didn't say the prayer right. No, it's this lack of belief system that why would God answer their prayer just like that? The biggest problem is the belief system. It's not even what they're saying out of their mouths. Not feeling enough that God can give you something. So you're afraid to even smile afterwards. It's an unbelievable thing. I used to go through that. But you should not believe that. It's not true. He wants to give it to you. Why doesn't he want to give it to you? So there's a lot of shifts in mindset here that we have to really, really go into and ask ourselves, what are our belief system? Why would God not give it? It means, how do you test a level of faith? Is the more a person prays. Because the more he prays, the more he knows that God's going to answer him. That's how you really know if the guy's really on the ball. Because if I believe that the power of my prayers are, of course he's going to answer me, then I'm going to obviously shoot. But if you're not a good shooter, you're not going to take a shot. And like Wayne Gretzky says, you never hit a shot he never made a shot that he didn't hit, that he didn't take. So you have to shoot. You have to shoot, and you have to believe that you have that power. Today, we need more strength and musar today. Today, it's not that people know what to do. They know what to do. It's that how come they're not doing it? That's the issue today. They know what to do. It's not a lack of musar. It's not a lack of information today. It's lack of will today. It's lack of fighting darkness. It's lack of getting that. It's called, Rav Nachman calls it holy chutzpah. This holy chutzpah, this brazenness that makes you have to be a little crazy. He even said it. You have to be a little crazy, in a good way. You have to take shots. You have to be vulnerable. You have to be willing. That's what he says in lesson 48 before we start the book. You have to understand that a person needs to be extremely stubborn in the service of God, not to deserve his place. This is the one time stubbornness is good. It's not, stubbornness is not good when you're fighting with your wife or you're fighting with somebody else. That stubbornness is not good. But where you could be stubborn, that means being stubborn is actually, there is a positive thing to being stubborn, is not to desert your place, is not to give up. That's where stubbornness is welcomed and it's encouraged. The other stubbornness gives you a heart that's no, and eventually you get turned away. And that's what he's saying here. A person needs tremendous determination to be strong and courageous, to hold on and maintain his position, because like we said before, we have the Yetzer Hara that constantly wants to make you turn back. So being stubborn, we have to ask ourselves, am I just as stubborn in business as I am in my spirituality? You know, a customer says no. I was always told when I was younger that when the customer says no, that's the beginning of the sale. So you don't just quit like that. That's the beginning of the sale. That's when you say, okay, now the sale begins. Obviously, anybody can sell anything. You can go to the CVS. Here, I want to buy a pack of gum. Ring it up. It doesn't take a salesman for that. It's when the customer says no. That's when you start selling. That is exactly what we have to fight today. Is when they tell you no, that's when you're supposed to see how much you're willing to pull over. Many times I've been told no, and because I remember being younger, that's the beginning of the sale. That's what you start getting. Again, this is all of this is wonderful, but you need to practice it. Remember, it's normal to have inspiration, it's normal to have periods of desperation, but overall, you should recognize you have to just stand up at the end of the fight. That's what the Rebbe's advice is for. Stand up at the end of the fight. Whether you're going up or down, what are you doing at the end of the fight? Are you still holding on? And then he says in lesson 86, note, because if people are a little faith, they need a lot of difficult devotions. According to the amount of faith that you have is how hard your life is going to be. If you believe in yourself, the effort you're going to make is not going to be so difficult because you're worthy that Hashem will give it to you. It's not a lack of humility. It's being, yes, I have a gift from Hashem. I have a gift from my Creator. This is not mine. It's my gift from my Creator. Why would I not use the gift that God gave me? It's not being arrogant at all. It's using the gift that God gave you and using it properly. When you're too shy and you're not using the gift properly, then you're living in fear. So you have to use the gift that God gave you. Whatever your gift is, you have to use it. And that's why Rabbi Cook says that the real pain that people are going through today is they're not using they're not in their soul state. They're not in their proper state. They're running away from themselves. And this mimics exactly what happened in Parshas Bereshit, where God said to Adam, Ayeka, where are you? Where are you? You made a mistake, you hid. Where are you? That's exactly what we're mimicking today. So let's get to the 13 steps. Remember, all of these steps. Here in life, you could be lost. There's a great story by Baal Shem Tov, and it says there was a man who was lost in the forest. He was completely lost. He was desperate. It was raining outside. He was completely desperate, and all of a sudden, he found some guy. And he says, "Listen, I've been stranded in the forest for years. I haven't been able to find an exit." So the guy goes, "Listen, I'm also stranded here. But let me tell you where for sure it's a dead end. I can guarantee you the dead ends for sure don't go there. Maybe I don't have the solution for you, but these 13 things are dead ends. Guaranteed dead ends. So if you don't hit those dead ends, eventually you're going to end up going where you need to go." First step. First thing she says. They don't waste time feeling sorry for themselves. First, the number one step, obviously we know this, Leon works with me in recovery centers. First step is getting people out of self-pity. Because like I said, if my whole point is glory, showing God glory, self-pity is not showing God glory. It's the opposite. It's showing that there is no glory, that there is no crown, that there's nothing to live for, there's nothing to go. So feeling self-pity, basically, it shuts the whole emunah thing. It takes the plug out of the emunah thing. Because really, God doesn't need more victims. God doesn't need more. He needs His glory to be elevated. And John Gardner said, self-pity is easily the most destructive non-pharmaceutical narcotics. It's addictive, it gives momentary pleasure, and it separates the victim from reality. It's easy. You see, it's very simple in life. It's easy to quit. It doesn't take much effort. It's easy. Winning is difficult. So self-pity is the number one no-no. The way you pray, you should have simcha. It could be a broken heart, but after that could be simcha. And again, like I say this 1,000 times, and I can't express this enough, you have to recognize that the more you know in life, the more you recognize you don't know. And I can't stress that concept enough. The more you know, you recognize, what do I know? Maybe this is good for me. Maybe this is good for me. So when we start, the problem today is when we start labeling things, and we start calling this bad, and calling this good, and calling that bad, and calling this good, how do you know what's good and what's not good for you? There's a master plan. It's when the guy goes into the middle of a movie and says, I don't know what's going on. This guy has to be bad. And he didn't see the beginning. He didn't see the end. That's the problem. So why self-pity is such a problem is because you don't get the next chapter in the book. You don't get the next chapter in the book. And this is what Adam did. He blamed Chava. He blamed. So self-pity is very connected to blame. A lot of people blame their mazel. Mazel means their luck. You could be over your luck. So that's why Rabbi Rush says, first say thank you before you attack your problem. First say thank you for all the good in your life. And then after you find all the good in your life, then ask God to see the light in that problem. But don't ask Him to fix a broken toy, because God does not change. We change through tefillah. That was today's class. God does not change. We change through tefillah. Very important concept. And like I said, the reasons why we shouldn't have self-pity, number one, huge waste of time. Huge waste of time. You want to waste time? It's guaranteed to waste a lot of time. This is the why me, why me, why me. It leads to more negative emotion. Because self-pity will lead to what? More of a destructive path, unfortunately. 3, what you fear becomes real. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So now you know you wasted time, you feel worse than ever, and then you might have a self-fulfilling prophecy, if that's not enough. It prevents you from dealing with other emotions. Self-pity, you can't get to know yourself, right? It prevents you from dealing with other emotions. It causes you to overlook the good in life. You don't see the whole other things that are good in life. And 6, it interferes with relationships. You know, I tell people, you want to get remarried? Don't go to your dates dumping your ex-boyfriend or ex-husbands and trash. The guy just got out of a relationship. You think he wants to now inherit more trash? You have to go in light. You know, people travel. People travel light. Just watch a guy travel from New York to light, one package. You see people going on Passover, 35 luggages, like the world's going to an end, Armageddon. Imagine going on a date with, you see the packages in there. You couldn't even, they can't fit anything. Like the world is over. The world is over. I'm going away for Passover. The way they travel in bags and bags. Like, God forbid, they're going to run out of food. You don't want to go to a relationship like that. So what happens is, when we do have self-pity, it's like the amount of weight that we put on other people. They just don't want to deal with you anymore. They don't want to deal with the person. They become exhausted. It's very important. So again, what's the difference of why me? What's next? Lack of self-pity, crowning the king, showing God's glory. I'm here to elevate God's glory. I'm not here to take the glory for myself. Because a lot of self-pity is about getting attention, getting a lot of attention. And then if you take a lot of attention, you really can't become the giver that you really want. You want to give. Obviously, we see this all day long. This is the main shift that we're trying to get the person out of themselves so they can get to the second. Number 2, they don't give away their power. Very important concept. Mentally strong people do not give away their power. They never blame somebody. This guy gave me blue eyes today. That person made me angry. This person did that to me. That's giving away power. That's giving away power. They control their energy. They manage their energy. They don't give away energy. Occasionally, you're going to fall, but you can't have the whole day. I'm upset because he took all this person made me angry the whole day. What did somebody say? My father put me here. He made me angry the whole day. So that's it. Your day's done. How could he make you angry? You made yourself angry because the way you interpreted that situation. Again, this is so important. Because obviously when you give up on yourself, who else do you think you're going to give up on? God. Can't have a relationship with God if you don't have a relationship with yourself. It's pretty common sense. Asking people, why are you not religious? Gave up on himself. What religion? What spirituality? If I give up on myself, of course I'm going to give up on God. The rest is history. So you have to get the guy to help to start loving himself, self-esteem, and then he won't give up. He won't give up because his view of God is going to change. Dale Carnegie says, when we hate our enemies, we are giving them power over us, power over our sleep, our appetite, our blood pressure, our health, and our happiness. Beautiful line, Dale Carnegie. I'm sure he knows a thing or two. How do you know you're giving away your power? You feel offended by criticism and negative feedback people give you. I promise you, I've been called a heretic by people, by organizations. No, don't put his class as he's a heretic. I mean, I laugh at these things. The amount of things that people say, but I said, listen, how could you sit there and do this and not have any kind of criticism? It's going to happen. But it has nothing to do with me. Because if somebody's really successful, they'll never criticize you. They'll never criticize. They stay in their own lane. Only people that are weak and jealous criticize you. Other people have the ability to make you angry. You change your goals based on what other people think of you. The type of day you're having depends on how other people behave. You have difficulty setting boundaries and you feel resentment towards people who take up your time and energy. And you hold a grudge when somebody offends you. You ever heard that one? You hold a grudge. There's a 24 hours a day prohibition. Do not hold a grudge against somebody. So when somebody wrongs you, you take it personal. You're holding a grudge. The whole time it's a sin because you're holding a grudge. You're not allowed to seek revenge. Don't take it personal. It has nothing to do with you. You could do a whole year class on not taking it personal. That's how much effect people are going through taking things personal. You could literally do a 24-hour conference all day long, 365 days a year. Because almost every single case that I've heard, something happened, took it personal. And that's why that person is that way. Like we said before, the more glory he gives God, the less respect I need. The more glory I give God, the less respect I give, because I want to get glory from God. I don't want to get glory from a human being. Human beings doesn't do anything for me. What's the problem again? Very simple. You lose your confidence in yourself, then you start losing your self-worth. So they define your self-worth. You take things personal, you don't get approval, like we said before. The more I approve myself, the less I need approval from you. The less I approve myself, the more I need approval from you. That's the formula. That's a healthy person does not need approval from other people. Unfortunately, a person who's struggling with this needs to take approval from other people. And that's the jigsaw. That's how you know you have a healthy relationship, when you don't really, other people don't affect you so much. And again, what are the causes when you hold grudges? Obviously, God forbid, suppressed emotions, stress, not able to do other things, not living your life where you really want to live, where you have energy, and you all day long controlling emotions, and all day long, pity parties. Did you hear what this person did to me? No. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Did you hear what this person did to me? No, I can't believe it. So there you go. The conversations now turn into, seeking parties. It's normal, but you have to recognize it's taking away your power. Because you're not producing when you're schmoozing. That's the bottom line. So it's a habit. This is not you. It's a habit. It's not you. That's what the whole point here is. You are the king. We are come from greatness. We need to act with greatness. This does not allow us to act with greatness. 3, and specifically, like we said before, we all have our weaknesses. The water signs will take things personal 100 times more because they're emotional. Water signs are emotional. Fire signs, they love the fire. They love the fight. They just love it. They thrill on it. They love arguing with people. That's what the thing is. Wind signs, they take off. Somebody argues, they just take off. They don't care. Earth signs are stubborn. So we all have, each one of us have that, we deal with this very differently. Water holds it in, suppress, anger. So each one of us has that problem with which each one of us. So we all struggle differently in these departments. So water signs, for sure, you need to work on not taking things personal. For sure, that is definitely one of the most important things for water signs. Number 3, they don't shy away from change. Very important. The Torah tells you get out of your comfort zone. Get out of your comfort zone. You need change constantly. That's what the purpose of a negative emotion. It's to what? The word in Latin, emotion, means to do what? Move. Move. You feel negative emotion? Move. Move from that state. This is why Rav Nachman talks about when the Jews were splitting the Red Sea, they said, stop crying out. Now it's time to move. Change. So life does not happen with chance. Life changes with change. Not chance. Change. So, and we have to understand that your life will never change until you do something you do daily different. That's really the key. Is the daily habits is really the key. And he says it's not the same. It's not that some people they don't have the willpower, and some don't. It's just some people are ready to change, and other people are not ready to change. It's not a lack of will. They're ready to change or not ready to change. I always say the only way you really get people to change today is enough leverage. The guy says, listen to the classes. They're good for you. No, the wife's getting divorced. Oh, put me on the group. Put me on the group. Why? Before he doesn't have leverage. Now he can lose half of his money. He can lose this. Put me on the group. What time can I meet you? Before he doesn't want to meet. Now he has enough leverage. So unfortunately, if it doesn't work one way, it works the other way. It works, unfortunately, the other way. Why do we don't change? Just because we're stubborn, the Yetzer Hara. We tell, it's not that this habit is not so bad. It's not so bad. Everybody does it, right? Smoking, everybody does it. It's not so bad. Who says it's so bad? People start getting a lot of anxiety when they change, but that's actually good, because where's the anxiety coming from? The Yetzer Hara. Having anxiety over change is actually very good. That means you're doing something different. Like we say, how come we're always hesitating when we want to do something good? But when we do stupid stuff, there's no hesitation. So that's good anxiety. That means there's change. That means you're becoming comfortable. Even when you're in a bad situation, you're worried about making change might make things worse. Whenever you attempt to make a change, you struggle to stick with it. Again, habits. You worry that even if you try changing, it's not going to last. But again, if you keep on thinking like that, it's not going to change. You can think, have the goal, but break it down into small pieces. But don't think, if I started, what's the point? I'm not going to change anyway. So these are all self-behaving behaviors. So either we have reasons or we have results. What I do with it, you should take a particular thing that we just went through 3 or 4 of them, and you need to pray about this. Pray. Hashem, I can't change. I've been trying to change. I tried to change. I can't change. Where is this rooted in? Usually change is rooted in what? Fear. Or the desire to avoid pain and gain pleasure. So recognize, if I avoid pain, I'm going to have to deal with pain regardless in my life. I have to recognize pain is non-negotiable. I can deal with short-term pain and get long-term pleasure, or I can not deal with the pain now and get long-term pain. So there's not an option really. Pain is coming. Short-term pain, long-term pleasure, or no pain now, but a lot of pain after. That's why I always think, I have to go through the pain. How much do you want to pay? Where do you want to pay it? Pay the price early, not afterwards. But you're going to have to pay a price. That's why the idea today of not having any kind of pain, it's not realistic and it's not healthy. Because then what happens? You'll never have those change. Number 4. Mentally strong people do not focus on things they can't control. Anxiety, money, all this, all things we cannot control. We have to make an effort, and the rest, let Hashem run the show. Pray and release. Go to work, put all you can, release. Any overindulgence in trying to rush the hour is going to lead to suffering, unfortunately. I learned this lesson a lot. Rav Nachman tells us to pray 140 cries. 70 cries represents a prophet, a prayer, like a woman needs 70 cries to give birth, and another 70 cries to recognize it's not from your success. Save me from thinking it's the illusion of my hand, of my success. Very important concept. Because maybe you're thinking it's you. You're doing it. Yes, you have to make an effort. God gives you wisdom. Like I said, God gives a person wisdom. He gives a person strength. And he gives a person wisdom, strength, and I believe wisdom, strength, and money. It's from heaven. It's from heaven. So if a person's having an issue with anxiety, he's focusing on things he can't control. If a person's having an issue with anger, he's focusing on things he can't control. Because what is anger? A loss of control. So anger problems, control problems. That's why the recovery prayer says, please let me know the difference to focus on things that I can control and I can't control. Another sign of being in a situation that you can't control things, if you're burnt out a lot. You're burnt out a lot, 100%, overdoing it. Overdoing it. That's the benefits of bitachon, means trust in God. Like he says, he doesn't need your muscles, he doesn't need your strength, he needs your trust. It's one of the pasuk, I forget where the pasuk says that. He needs your trust. It's very important. And he says, when you don't trust in me, you're going to leave your trust to broken people, to broken handles, broken jugs. Either you trust in me, or you're going to leave your trust to people. And it says, blessed is the person who trusts in God, cursed is the person who trusts in another person. How do you know you have this control issue? Number 1, you spend a lot of time and energy trying to prevent bad things from happening to you. You invest energy into wishing other people would change. That's funny. Like wishing God would change, wishing your marriage will change, your partner will change, your son will change. All of this is all tefillah. It's tefillah. When you're faced with a tough situation, you think you can handle it all by yourself. You believe the outcome of every situation is based on how much effort you exert. You assume that good luck has nothing to do with success. Other people sometimes accuse you of being a control freak. These are the situations, again, in marriage. I hear a lot of control issues. He's too controlling. He doesn't give up control, and it's miserable because you're choking the person. The person needs a space. He needs space. But when you're in their face, too much control, codependence, all of these things, it's not leading to anything. So what happens when you have this? It's going to lead you to anxiety. It's going to lead you to anger, to destroy your relationships. It's going to lead you to anger. So either you have bitachon, you have a wonderful life, or you don't have bitachon, and you have a miserable life. Pretty much it. That's number 4. I hate to say it, so it's 13 of them. So, and obviously, when you do have trust, what are the benefits? Increased happiness, better relationships, less stress, new opportunities, more success. Life does not become a heartaholic. Heartaholic becomes an alcoholic because things are not going to go his way. Trust and release. It's so important. 5. they don't worry about pleasing everybody. That's mentally strong people. They don't need to please everybody. Care about, Lao Tzu said, care about other people think, and you'll always be a prisoner. You'll always be a prisoner if you always care about what other people think. Obviously, we want to make people happy. Obviously, you have to care about what your wife thinks. You have to be, respectful. But it can't get to a person where I'm people-pleasing all the time, and I'm afraid to say no. I'm a pushover, because then I lose myself. I lose my true self. So we shouldn't always care. And again, you might have a different connection with spirituality, and maybe somebody says, wow, who are you to like Breslov? Who are you? I never forget when I was getting into Reb Nachman's teachings, they told me I was in a cult, they told me I had issues. I really didn't care what they think. Because you know what he tells, Reb Nachman tells me in lesson 1? He says, by the way, when you're going to start serving me, don't pay attention to anybody. Right away, he gives you the word. Do not pay attention to anybody, because miserable people do not like to see people happy. Today, you see a guy happy, dancing. What's wrong with him? Something's wrong with him. Miserable, like we said, miserable people love company. So when they see other people happy, why are you happy? Why are you entitled to be happy? Be miserable just like us. Come to the box just like everybody else. Do not worry. Even unfortunately, there's some rabbis that are completely off on this. And they look like rabbis, but this doesn't mean they have the right answer. I would tell you that Rabbi Natan, the disciple of Rabbi Nachman, people tried to kill him. People tried to kill him. He had many opponents. He was running for his life. David HaMelech was running for his life his whole life. We all have these spiritual wars, these little voices telling you, don't do this, don't listen to that. It looks like it's coming from a good place, but it's really not, and you have to be very careful. You have to listen to your heart, you have to listen to what's good, and you might have a whole different mission than somebody else. It's very, very important. So again, do not worry about people-pleasing, specifically in spirituality. Because we know every time there's a lot of light, there's always that darkness surrounding it. There's always that light darkness surrounding it. 6, they don't fear taking calculated risks. Successful people recognize, and this is a Kabbalah concept, of the Shirat HaKelim. Vessels break in order for you to become humble, in order for you to change perception or procedure. But they'll take a calculated risk. They have no problem. I would say a calculated risk today is definitely marriage. You have to take a calculated risk. Are you guaranteed anything? Nothing you're guaranteed. But you could make it into that. But you can't not take a risk at all. If you don't take a risk, then you get stuck in fear. Waldo Emerson says, do not be too timid and squeamish about all your actions. All your life is an experiment. The more you experience, the better you become. Same thing. Hashem tests us whether or not are you going to take the risk. Are you going to open up that business? A very simple way would be win or you learn. Did you learn or did you win? Never, God forbid, self-defeated. Never talk about I was not good enough, I was not good. Never say that. I won, I learned. I can tell you this year was definitely a lot of calculated risk and a lot of calculated lessons that we learned this year. But it was all absolutely, I'm so happy it happened because my vessel is so much bigger. So when we do this, we have to take our vision to make it a decision, and we have to take calculated risk. God wants you to take calculated risk, and He wants you to show that He trusts in you, and you have to sometimes be just like the Nachshon that the sea was not splitting until what? Nachshon took that shot. He went in all in. You have to take, because sometimes you will be successful just by going all in. When you build it, they will come. When you build a keli, the light will come. No keli, what kind of light do you want? What kind of light do you want if there's no keli? 7. 7th thing, they do not dwell on the past. The past in Chassidut is completely over. Chassidut believes that the past is an experience. God recreates the world every single day. Marianne Wilson says, we do not heal the past by dwelling there. We heal the past by living it fully in the present. The present kills the past. When you live in the present, remember, where do all of our negative thoughts come from? The past. Every one of them. That's the Yetzer Hara. The Yetzer Hara, think about every negative thought you get, it's not from the present moment. It's not from the present moment. It's from the past. So your job is to battle your subconscious, to be in the present moment. shahodah, gratitude, every day is a new day. Believe me, if I didn't have this attitude, I would never do classes every day. Because I would say, wow, how much more classes can I do? But if I'm living in the present, what are you talking about? Yesterday's over. Today's a brand new day. That's how you keep alive. That's how you're alive in life. That's how opportunities come. When you live in the past, you can't get that. And that's what Reb Nachman says. We don't want to be stuck in history. We don't want to be stuck in history. Many people, unfortunately, have fallen in this. Like we said before, their personality became the personal reality. Something happened, that's who they became. That became the personality. So when you're stuck in history is when you think you could just press rewind so you could redo portions of the past. You spend a lot of time wondering if life would be different if you made different decisions. You feel like sometimes the best days of your life are already behind you. You play memories in the past like a scene in a movie over and over again. This is all living in the past. Living in the past. Let go and let God. The fear of moving forward makes us stay stuck in the past. That's another thing. A lot of these things are rooted in fear. A lot of this is not making decisions, not taking calculation. All this is rooted. There's other two emotions. Everything comes to either love or fear, and fear is really the prominent one in keeping you paralyzed. It paralyzes you and it keeps you as a prisoner. So again, we have to, what they say in psychology, and I've also recommended this, schedule a time to talk about the past. If you want, just schedule a time. We always tell people, I think it's a great idea. From 6 to 6:15, think everything about the worst case scenarios. Just think about all the past. 6 to 6:15. Pick that time. Pick an old sweater, an old mug, and then you can just dwell on things you can't change and be miserable for 15 minutes. That's it. And then 6:15 to 6:30, think about all the things in the future you can't control. Think about all the anxious things that you can't control. And then at least 30 minutes a day, you're dwelling with stupidity, but the rest of the day you have your whole life. Delay the Yetzer Hara. Delay it. Schedule a time. It really works, by the way. 6 to 6:30, I'm going to be miserable. Now, what happens between 6, let's say at 6 o'clock you're busy, and you don't have time to do that, then you do it tomorrow. Reb Nachman would always procrastination. He would say, tomorrow I'll do that. He'll do it today, but he would tell you that tomorrow I'll take the day off. He would procrastination. That's what he would do. And today we do procrastinate today. No, he would say, tomorrow I'll take the day off. Today I want to do this. And what would happen tomorrow? He would move it off again. See, just like something works the other way, it also works a good way also. Things work the other way. But the best thing to do is schedule a time to talk about the past and visualize whatever you want to put the 80s music on or 90s, whatever this thing happened. And that's it. And then move on. It's so important, especially past relationships and all that. I would say that was one of the gifts that God gave me. It's another gift of a water sign. Water signs, they go through A doesn't work, B doesn't work, C, D, E, F. There's no price. Where are we going? Water goes through cracks. Water just moves. Water moves. You have to take the water sign in you and just move. Move, move, move. So what's not helpful? Also pretending that it didn't happen. Even Reb Nachman's telling you that you're going to fall in life because there's lessons that need to be taught. And from those lessons, you'll become a different person. So getting stuck in the past and dwelling over the past is really self-pity, and it's not going to do anything for you. Whether it could be divorces or it could be anything like that. It's just a waste of time. 8, they don't make the same mistakes over and over. I love this line by John Powell. The only real mistake is one from which we learn nothing. That's unbelievable. When you didn't learn anything from that mistake, and you keep on doing the same thing over and over and over again, like today we speak in the dating scene, stop getting so physical, stop getting so physical before spiritual. I can't, but I gave in. Okay, so here we go. Here's the call again. What can I tell you? What can I tell you? That's the rule. Yes, it's very frustrating when you do the same thing over and over and you get to nothing. Of course, but that's insanity, thinking things are going to change. Remember that. It's tough. It's not easy to break a habit, but once you break it, you'll start living. That's the greatness about it. So you often find yourself stuck at the same point where you're trying to reach the goal. You encounter an obstacle, you don't invest time looking ways to overcome it. Remember, why we make the same mistakes is, again, because we're stubborn. So what's the problem with this? You're not going to reach your goal. The problem won't get solved. You'll never think differently about yourself, and you're not going to try as hard. It's very important. People relapse all the time in our recovery centers. Pay attention. Write things down this time. Be more humble. Go to the... No. Here we go. Back again. Over and over and over again. We see it all the time. And they expect something different. You have to learn from your mistakes. Number 9, they don't resent other people's success. Mentally strong people do not result. If you find something that's good in somebody that you really like, either compliment them or serve them. Celebrate them or serve them. Ask them for help, or serve them, or compliment. It came from God, their blessing. But God forbid, do not envy them. That's the worst. Envy. Because what happens when you envy somebody else, what are you doing? You're creating a blockage in your own vessel. You cannot receive a salvation if you envy somebody else. Impossible. Because it doesn't activate faith. And faith activates blessings. So if I don't activate faith, it's because I'm looking in the wrong lane. So never say, I don't understand why I only have to go through this. They don't. There you go. That's almost a recipe to stay in that problem. Nelson Mandela says something beautiful. Resentment is like drinking poison and then hoping it will kill your enemies. Resentment kills you. It doesn't kill your enemies. It doesn't kill your enemies. It kills you. So again, it ruins your vessel. Stay in your lane. You're not going to have any faith. And if you want their package, I always tell people, I hear the behind-the-scenes stories. As much as people think everybody lives these cookie-cutter lives and everything's great, I hear the behind-the-scenes stuff, and I promise you, most of the time, you would want your life, you wouldn't want theirs. People only hear, they like we always say, they only watch the 10-minute, the 5-minute highlights of the game, of the dunks and the dunking and the great shots. You don't see the travels. You don't see all the garbage. You don't see. You only see the highlights on Instagram of the person. Look at their vacation. Beautiful vacation. You don't see the canceled ticket, the coconut in the head, the guy yelling at his mother. You have no idea what goes behind the scene. The son stealing from the mother to go buy drugs. You don't hear those stories. You only see the beautiful Cancun couple in Mexico. You think they're showing you the whole picture? No. But guess what? Whatever you focus on, you will see. So if you focus on that, you will see it. Sometimes I see, what? I can't believe it. Because everybody in this world, no matter who you are, has a lack. Everybody has a lack in their life, no matter who. There's something in a person's life that's causing them tremendous sorrow. But the only difference is successful people, they focus on the good and not that one thing. People that are not, they say, this is my life. My problem is my life, and they do not see all the other good stuff in their life. That's the only difference. Everybody has a lack, but one people say, the lack is my life. The other people say, I have tons. So what, I have a lack? That is the difference, the only difference. Because if your problems became your life, then your lack became, you focused only on the lack. And unfortunately, that's without spirituality, that is all you focus on. You can't see anything else if you don't have spirituality, because you'll never recognize, you'll take it personal. But if you have spirituality, you recognize, yes, there's lacks. It's okay. It's okay. There's a lack in your wife, there's a lack in you. And like we said before, there's nothing greater, there's nothing more whole than a broken heart. And there's nothing more perfect than someone who's imperfect. That's the formula of life. Number 10, they don't give up after the first failure. Failure is part of the process. People who avoid failure also avoid success. Wow. Look at that. People who avoid failure also avoid success. You want success? You got to go through the failure part. Beautiful line. People who avoid failure also avoid success. Remember, if we had success all the time, we would take it for granted. We wouldn't recognize the failure. The failure humbles you. The breakdown humbles you so you can break through. Don't give up after the first shot. And this involves marriage too. People tell me, I was in a 2-year engagement. I don't have another 2 years to go to another relationship. Who says it's going to be another 2 years? Who says it's going to be another 2 years? That's in your head. You can be in a 2-year engagement and then meet somebody in 30 days and get married. Why are you putting a gate? Or I don't have the energy to go into another business deal. The other business deal took 6 months. Hashem could make a deal in 1 day. You're saying 6 months because this is the way you think. This is the way you think. It's not true. It's not true. It's not a fact. It's you think because the other one took 6 months. This is going to take 6 months. So already my mindset is I'm exhausted. I don't have 6 months. So I won't even attempt it. Huh? You see if you really think how people think, it's not true. It is not true. The blessing could be at your front door. It's just not. It's concealed from you. You have to ask Hashem to reveal it to you. Every Yeshua is concealed from a person. A person has to ask for it to be revealed. That's it. It's just a lack of revelation. The movie's there. Open the curtains. God opens the curtains. So again, why we're worried about that is because if a person has a big ego, he's going to say, what? If I got divorced 1 time, what are they going to think if I get divorced 2 times? What are they going to think of me? So again, you're living for other people, not living for yourself. Why take the shot? Why? I can't afford that risk of a second failure. What are they going to do? They're going to think I'm crazy. Okay, so just don't do anything depending on what will they think. They do not give up after the first challenge. Easy to talk about this, but I did it. Because again, if your self-worth is based on your failures, then obviously you're not going to have much of it. So successful people do not give up after the first shot. They wait, they learn from the first and the second. Again, this is all rooted in fear. Because we recognize the second time, usually, you become much stronger. Number 11, they don't fear alone time. It's very important. They don't. A lot of this is rooted in the ego. They don't feel. They enjoy their alone time. Alone time. All my classes come from being alone. You need time alone to think, and to really watch the whole day, and to see, okay, where am I putting energy in the wrong place? Once you have that alone time, you prepare. The rest is history. But when there's no alone time, then you're spinning wheels. All a man's miseries derive from not being alone. The mind's spinning 1,000 times, and nobody's there to stop the mind. Today, it's clearly that. The mind's running. Spend some time alone. Don't have time. Who's going to stop the mind from running? So that's why stopping, getting yeshuva dat, looking at the whole picture, calming down is so beneficial today. 12. They don't feel the world owes them anything. You know, people tell me, I'm entitled to this. I'm entitled for this. What is this? People tell me, this guy owes me this. What do you mean? I'm entitled to it. My friend got it. I said, let me explain to you something. The world doesn't owe you anything. You come into this world as a guest. Whatever you get is a gift. You're guaranteed to be happy. You come into this world with entitlements. What happens? You're guaranteed to be off the mark. I always tell people, you are a guest. How do we know this? From Hevel. Hevel, he brought Hashem the best offering. Why? Because he says, Hevel, I'm nothing. Of course I'm going to give him a good offering. But what did Cain do? He gave him a nothing. A very small offering. Because Cain said, I worked this from my hands. Why do I have to give God anything? See the difference? Hevel. The more humble I am, the more I recognize how much I have to give God. The more arrogant I am, everybody gets it. Why should I have to work for it? See, it's such an important lesson. Such an important lesson. They don't feel the world owes them anything. Imagine going on a date. Imagine being with a spouse that appreciates everything. Not this resentment and you owe me this and you owe me that, and they play score. If you have couples that play score, I'd say you know there's a big problem. You did this, 5-1. I did that, 5-2. You did that, 5-3, 5-4. Okay, what's the score? Just do it from your heart. Can you just do something from your heart? People focus a lot on looks today, but they're not focusing on the spirituality. You don't understand, but there's no spirituality. Welcome to these problems. Welcome to these problems. Because how is a person going to look and become a giver? There's only going to be problems. One problem after another problem with no solution. You need a person with spirituality, because otherwise they're always going to be taking from you. Take exhaustion, taking your energy away from you. I mean, is that not enough today to hear this? 13, the last step, they don't expect immediate results. They understand it's a process, not a prize. They don't separate the fruit from the tree. It's a process. His prayer is a process. Getting close to God is a process. They don't expect immediate results. They're not watching the scoreboard. They're not getting upset if the score didn't change right away. They don't expect. They know it's a process. They're present in the moment. But the people that expect immediate results, oh, score doesn't change, I quit. It's the biggest form of error. It's the biggest form of gava. So again, let's review them. Number 1, they don't waste time feeling sorry for themselves. Number 2, they don't give away their power. Number 3, they don't shy away from change. Number 4, they don't control things they don't focus on things they can't control. Number 5, they don't worry about pleasing everybody. Number 6, they don't fear taking calculated risk. Number 7, they don't dwell on the past. Number 8, they don't make same mistakes over and over. Number 9, they don't resent other people's success. Number 10, they don't give up after the first failure. Number 11, they don't fear alone time. Number 12, they don't feel the world owes them anything. And number 13, they don't expect any results. Again, strongly recommend the book. 13 things mentally strong people do not do by Amy Morin. Strongly recommend the book. The whole book is Torah. And she's got amazing psychology lessons and everything. All right, that's today's class.